Hey guys, Tammy here. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why is a child nice to their narcissistic co-parent? It seems really counterintuitive. Like, why are they, giving me such a hard time? Or in some cases, I even see children who come back after transition and physically, wail on the other parent and all kinds of things. And yet they're this perfect little angel and perfectly nice to the narcissistic parent on the other side. Why in the world does that happen? I know you're curious to know. So before we dive in, let me just remind you, as always, if you like my content, don't forget to hit like on this video. Also subscribe to the channel so that you get notified as new videos are released. If you haven't subscribed yet and you're part of the 70% watching this that are unsubscribed, please subscribe now. I need that love. It helps me. It helps more people find me, helps me be able to create more content for you. So make sure that you do that. Now, when a child is being nice to a narcissistic co-parent, a lot of times, especially when I talk to people who are going to go through a custody eval, or they're getting a therapist involved, or they have minors counselor, all these different experts, those people in particular, I think, are concerned about this because they think, well, if the child's well behaved for the other parent, then what's it going to look like when they're not well behaved for me? And a common thing that narcissists say when you say, well, I noticed, little Johnny comes back and he's very angry and he bites me or beats on me or breaks things or, hits his siblings or whatever the thing is that you're observing, the other parent will often say, well, that doesn't happen in my world. I don't have that problem. So I don't know what you're talking about. And then you're just kind of like, what? Am I in the twilight zone or what's going on? You're not. Here's the thing. When we're dealing with court experts and courts and therapists and all these people, they know this. Okay. They know this information, just like I'm getting ready to share with you. And I know it through having observed and watched this movie hundreds and hundreds of times. The thing is that a child will sort of emotionally unload typically on the parent that they're most comfortable with, the parent they feel safest with, the parent that is kind of their person. Thomas's oldest son, it's kind of interesting because he would come back from his mom's, especially I think around like 12, 13, 14, and he would almost like pick a fight with me in particular. It would usually be me, which is a little more unusual as the step parent, but I have been in their lives since they were 1 and 2, so I've been here a long time. And I think that he just knew, he had the reassurance that he knew I was going to be here and I was going to be in it and I was going to do for him no matter what happened, no matter how I felt, whatever was going on, that he could rely on me. And so he would come back from his mom's and he would almost like pick a fight with me specifically. And he would argue and scream and yell and all these things, almost to the point where, my husband would intervene and be like, okay, go to your corner, like stop. And after that, it was almost like that release enabled him to emotionally process and relax and be able to then just, live life in our world. But he needed that process in the very beginning to almost like a catharsis, right? To just get it out. And I've had clients where the children come back and they're either, physically, rambunctious and maybe a little bit rough with the parent or sometimes hitting them or hitting siblings or breaking things. I think we tend to see the physicality part more out of boys, just because that's how they're hardwired, but not that it can't happen in girls too. It does. It's just, I would say more commonly that's an issue with boys. And then I think with girls, we see kind of more drama and emotional and getting upset about things or crying. Some kids are withdrawn. Some kids don't burst in that way. Some kids shut down and go internal. This can manifest in a lot of different ways, depending on the child, depending on their age, depending on their personality, depending on their gender, all these different things that go into this. But either way, it's that upheaval of, emotional interaction where you almost feel like you're emotionally having to absorb hits from that child. And that can be really, really exhausting. But what happens is the child does not feel safe enough emotionally safe enough, sometimes physically as well. But I'm with a narcissistic or high conflict co-parent, I'm particularly referring to emotional safety. And what happens is the child does not feel enough emotional safety in the relationship with the other parent that they're willing to unload. And usually if they do, they have figured out that one of a few different things will happen. Either that person withdraws affection, right? That's one of the narcissist's common manipulative techniques, right? You don't do what I want you to do. You do something I don't like. I'm going to withdraw my affection. And kids, again, they don't understand the dynamics. They don't understand the mental health aspect. They don't know any of those things. They have just learned cause and effect. They've learned when I express my feelings, when I express a negative feeling, when I express anger or upset or whatever, that parent withdraws their love from me. Okay, that's essentially the connection that they make. The parent may withdraw in that way. Sometimes the parent becomes verbally or emotionally abusive, the narcissistic parent. I think that's how my ex has been tended to be more. If the kids were upset or they were too loud for him or they were whatever, he was angry and would start screaming at them or cursing at them or would sometimes throw things at them or whatever the case may be. Whatever the behavior from the narcissistic parent is, the child has learned that they're not emotionally safe in that environment. And so what will happen is while they are there in that environment, they hold it all in, right? They don't express anything. I don't express any negative emotion while I'm there with the other parent because I'm going to get this backlash from it. So I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be well behaved. I'm going to do everything I can to try to keep anything negative from happening. Most kids want to please their parents. And so that's not an unusual trait from a child. It's just that it has this, dynamic because it's a narcissistic parent to where they just hold it in more. They hold it in, they don't express it, and then they come back to you, and then you are their safe parent. You are the person that allows them to express, that still loves them no matter what. Then, yeah, they're probably going to unload on you. And everything that they've been holding in and holding back for the whole last however many days they've been with the other parent now almost just comes uncontrollably pouring out of them because now their nervous system goes, oh, okay, we're in a safe space now. We're with someone who isn't going to abandon us or isn't going to attack us or isn't going to gaslight us or whatever. And you know what those things are because you were in a relationship with this other parent, I assume. So you know what techniques that other parent uses when they don't like what you do. You know whether they're withdrawing, you know whether they're attacking, you know whether they're gaslighting, all the different things. So you think about it, now your child is in that environment. So when they come back, yeah, now you're the safe place. Now you're where they're expressing everything. Okay, because they have the ability to do so. So it really is a compliment. I know it doesn't feel like one, but just know that that means that you're their safe person. And honestly, therapy, you guys, I can't say it enough. Like children with a narcissistic parent especially need to be in therapy. I think any kid dealing with divorce in two households or separation in two households and going back and forth needs therapy, but especially if you have a narcissistic parent, if you have any hope of that child not marrying a narcissist and not being a narcissist, it's going to be in getting them therapy as early as you possibly can to give them the tools to learn healthy ways of dealing with this and creating healthy relationships for themselves. I hope that's been helpful. If you'd like more help from me on dealing with these kinds of issues, you can go to divorceuniversityonline.com/VIP-coaching. There's a link on that page where you can book a time to speak to a member of my staff, learn more about my services and how I might be able to support you on your journey. See you guys next time.